Well, this is something new. So every month now, we're going to try and do a DayZ streamer spotlight. Or well, it probably will be DayZ players because that's obviously where a lot of the time I spend is with DayZ players. But for our very first ever streamer spotlight, we are with the actual Rapture. So we're going to go. We are playing dangerously because we are in game. We are on an official server, and things have been a bit dicey already. Just double checking you can still hear me, Rapture.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's get started before someone inevitably turns up and tries to murder us. So yeah, the spotlight is just trying to get to know a little bit more about the gamer, the person, and a little bit more about their gaming history and whatnot. But thank you for agreeing to be the first one. So no pressure. You're setting a high bar. Um, you
Yeah,
set
thanks for inviting me.
you're setting a bar anyway. So and this is a personal thing because you do get a lot of players who never actually share any personal details at all. But what is your actual first name, if you don't mind sharing?
My first name is Sean.
John. And is there any history behind that, story behind that, why you were named Sean?
Uh, no, maybe after Sean Lennon. I don't know.
So it's not.
My mom was a Beatles fan, so maybe she named me after Sean. I don't know, but a lot of my younger sister, I have an
Yeah.
older brother, older sister, younger sister, and my younger sister has a Irish name also. Um, so
Is there some Irish
yeah,
heritage in there?
yeah, yeah. There is. I don't think. I mean, we're not like closely, but I think it's more like Kerry County,
Yeah.
according to DNA results. But um, and also from what we can trace back. But yeah, yeah, we get some Irish,
Oh, nice. Um.
a lot
So,
of British Irish.
so do you have any other interests, skills, hobbies um that we need to be aware
Well,
of?
as far as hobbies go, I'm quite ADD. My wife likes to say that I collect hobbies as a hobby, and um, so I have had a lot of them. Over the years, like as a kid, I'd collect baseball cards, and then I got into collecting like coins because somebody um, I met collected coins, so I said, okay, maybe I'll try that. And I collected stamps because there are some old stamps that I thought were kind of cool. And but really, I used to ride my bike a lot when I was a kid. I loved bike riding, and so I wouldn't always outside. So I'd ride around the neighborhood, but when I was a kid, my dad, he would whistle really loud. Like that was my way of knowing that I needed to go home. He was one of those skilled people who could just whistle so loud you could hear him.
We-
So I was a, what was that?
No, no, you carry on.
No, I was gonna say as long as I could hear my dad, then I was okay. But if I was too far away, then I couldn't hear my dad, then I was in trouble. And I had to be home. If I couldn't hear my dad, or if I heard my dad whistle, I had to go home. Or if the streetlights came on, I had to go home. I was kind of a feral child.
I was about to say the street
Um,
lights thing is a big thing here as well. As soon as the lights go on, that's it, you're coming in.
Yeah, yeah. As an adult, I still rode my bike quite a bit. Um, and then I started playing paintball for a little while. I liked paintball a lot. I as a teenager, I played a lot of I played Magic the Gathering for a while. I started in probably I don't know 93. So I played a bit of that, and I played a lot of games as a kid. I had a Nintendo when I was little. My brother really, I guess it was his Nintendo NES. Uh, but I remember watching my brother play, Nintendo, and he would pause it, and then we'd go to school, and then he'd come home, and he'd unpause it because the games didn't have a memory. So like
Oh,
you, like Mario, you didn't really get to like save your status, right? So you would like pause it and then turn the TV off and come home.
well,
Um,
that's kind of how I started with DayZ. I didn't realize you could log out. I just played it until you were out, and yeah. Anyway, um, That's enough of my stupidity. Uh, so do you have any siblings, partner, children, and how do they actually react to the title streamer?
Yeah, I have some siblings. I don't have I don't know that anybody really cares as far as that goes. My older siblings and I aren't super close. My younger sibling and I aren't super close either. But I think that they'd be fine with it. I don't think they care. My dad knows. My mom and dad know. Sometimes my dad watches me play. My dad also plays Daisy.
Really? Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah. He's like 73. He's an interesting dude because when I was a kid, he didn't really play games or show any interest in video games. The only time I ever saw any interest in video games was like he had an Atari um, that I didn't even know existed for a while. For a
Yeah.
while, you know,
The
and
cartridge version.
yeah, like a 2600 or I don't know what the heck,
Yeah.
whatever they are. It is. I don't remember what they look like or what the numbers or anything, but um. Yeah, he had this Atari, and sometimes he would, when I was probably 5 or 6, we'd play like Pong on it or Cubert or
Oh,
one of
Cuba
those
was
kinds of
cool.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
and or Pitfall. That was also a fun one for me, and I was never good at it because it's kind of hard, but and the joysticks were really stiff, so it's kind of tough. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. My wife, my son, they think it's cool I stream. But I don't have a ton of feedback yet because I just kind of started doing it, right?
Yeah. Okay. Um, so something that's come up in chat and also was actually, to be fair, my next question anyway, because Tiny had asked. So, favorite food to snack on? Does this change for streaming sessions? Also, favorite food and drink in general. What's your
Yeah.
go-to?
Oh man.
Have you been disconnected?
Yeah, I'm coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah, you keep talking then.
Yeah, I like a lot of different things. I like to eat cheeses and meats and crackers and that kind of stuff, like charcuterie, right? But I also I have a big thing of trail mix next to my desk right now that I've been working on, but I have to take out the almonds because they make my throat itchy.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. People are like, you should probably not do that, but yeah, it's totally fine. I've always had almonds in my life, so I'm not opposed to them. But it's just that they kind of make me cough. So initially, the other day, when I started to cough, I thought it was because I was eating the almonds, right? Um, and then I stopped eating the almonds, and then it turned out I was actually sick. So, but
Oh, can't blame the
it's kind of
almonds this
funny.
time.
I like Doritos. Doritos are pretty good. Um, some of my favorite things. Like not that nacho cheese crap though. You gotta have that Cool Ranch.
Oh yeah. Um, and a spin-off question of this really is like death. If you were on death row, what's your final meal gonna be?
Oh yeah, that's good. Oh man, what would I have? Hmm, probably lobster.
If going out,
I'd
going out in
probably have
style.
lobster. Yeah, I'd probably have lobster, scallops, or something like that. And if I couldn't get
Yes.
that, maybe shrimp.
Um,
Yeah, I like seafood.
oh, I think the fire's gone out. Never mind. Um, so moving along to our animal friends. Have you got any pets? Growing up, currently,
Yeah,
what's yeah?
yeah. Growing up, I had dogs. I've always had dogs. I don't think I've ever had a time where I didn't have a dog growing up. Um, my first dog was a German Shepherd Husky mix, and she was wild.
Wow.
Um, yeah, she was pretty cool,
How big was
and
she?
probably 50 pounds or so. She wasn't huge, but she was a good dog. And then I had before that, before I had my own, like this was your dog. We had like a poodle mix, and we had some kind of spaniel mix, and then after my dog, we got a Australian Shepherd, and then a Saint Bernard.
Wow, that's
Uh,
that's a big old dog there. Still there, Rapture.
Whoops, there we go.
Okay.
I accidentally hit my foot pedal and muted my Discord.
I was just saying, like Saint Bernard's pretty sizable dog.
Yeah, Saint Bernards are big. Yeah, he was a mix. So he was a Rottweiler Saint Bernard mix, but he was mostly Saint Bernard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I guess half DNA, but he looked more like a Saint Bernard. He was much bigger than a Rottweiler. Um, and then yeah, I've had a lot of dogs, but my current dogs, I have a white Schnauzer and a well, they say we adopted them from a rescue, so we don't really know. But he's a Schnauzer. He's white. His name's Shadow, which is hilarious because he's
Hmm.
not black like a shadow. And then we have a Bernese Mountain Dog mix, but I don't know that that's true either because she's not very big. She has like corgi legs.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, she looks like a Swinkie.
Oh. Um, so it's like Tiny has access to these questions. They said, hope you're feeling better soon, and you and the fam had a nice holiday, which kind of
Yeah.
leads on to the next question. Is like, what's your favorite holiday destinations?
Oh yeah. I like a lot of places. I've been a lot of places. I've been to beaches. I've been to mountains. I think I like both those things or some mixture of those things. Um, I know where Sanyo, like that area where she's at in the East Coast is really cool. I like
Yeah,
that area. It's nice and cool in the summer times where we were at. But I also like the beach. So and I have a family member who lives pretty close to the south tip of Florida. So it's nice to go visit, especially when it's snowing here, where I live in the Midwest. And um, so I don't know, but I'm going, with my work, I used to travel quite a bit, and my wife traveled quite a bit. And so I worked from home most of the time, so I would just tag along whenever she had to travel, and she'd tag along whenever I had to travel. And
nice.
so, yeah, and so I got to go a lot of cool places that way. I would go to Las Vegas, or she would go to, like, recently we just went to Boston. We went to San Diego. We've been a lot of different places, which is pretty cool to be able to travel. And so I'm going to, hopefully, I'll be going to Europe next year
Oh,
in the
cool.
spring. We have to go to Switzerland for something my wife has to do, and then her her old college friend is getting married in Germany, in Nuremberg area. So we're gonna go to that the week after. So it ended up being good timing. Um, yeah.
Nice.
So I just like traveling a lot of different places. I like to see a lot of things. I guess that's my best answer.
I've made a bit of a rookie error with this and left my sound alerts on. And
Oh yeah, the Pedro Pedro. That's awesome.
um, and Unique has definitely been taking shots at me with a flyby bullet.
Yeah, that's
But
hilarious.
but we'll soldier on. We will soldier on. Um, so moving on to sports. Do you have a favorite team? Do you have a favorite sport? Any players that stand out that make you go
Oh man,
kind of?
I used to be into sports when I was a kid. I used to collect baseball cards and follow baseball a bit. And I live in a pretty big sports town. Um, but I'm not a huge sports fan anymore. I just don't really care. There's enough sports fans in my town to make up for me. Uh, I keep looking out here at these zombies.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a friend whose grandpa was a famous baseballer, and I got to meet him and hang out with him before I even knew he was a baseballer.
Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
he was a pretty big deal in our town. But and when I played sports when I was a kid. I played little league baseball for a while when I was little, and then I played baseball again when I was teen, just for a little bit, and then I got into football and wrestling and track when I was in high school.
nice.
Um, but a lot of my friends who played sports, football, football in college. I mean, college football. Um, I followed them for a bit. Some of them did really well, and one of them went on. Well, a couple of them went on to be on professional teams, but I just kind of quit caring, to be honest with you.
I think I've seen this a lot. You do generally see a lot of people who are really into it as they're younger, but then the priorities change just because just life gets in the way. Um, and other things then just take priority, don't they? I think
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
cases.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was fun when I watched people who I knew play, right? Like when you're watching somebody that you played ball with, like playing, I know a guy who played for the Eagles and then played for the Chiefs. And like when he was playing, it was like, wow, uh, I grew up with this guy. His brother, was my age, and we played on the same football team. We went to kindergarten together, and it's cool to be able to support the people that you know. But you know,
Sounds. Next question, could get you in a bit of trouble now. Um, depend on what your answer is, I suppose. What's your favourite colour?
blue.
Oh, do you know if you said red, I would have absolutely loved that.
No,
Uh, damn
it's
it.
blue. I like lots of different shades though. I like lights and darks and in betweens, and I like it when there's gradients of blue. I like a lot of blue. It's more calm.
Okay, well, for the instant, we'll pretend it's red. And apparently not purple because Tiny doesn't want purple.
No purple.
So this not everyone remembers this, but what was your last dream you had?
Oh man, I wrote this down the other day, and then I had a dream since then, and I was gonna write that down because I had a couple of questions ahead of time that you gave me, and that was one of them I wrote down, and then I was gonna change it because I had a different dream that I remember, but now I don't remember that dream, so I didn't write it down. Um,
As is the way.
yeah, yeah. As I've had a lot of weird dreams lately, but I think I've had some pretty traumatic hospital-y stuff happen, and so lately I have night terrors where I kind of wake up and have been reliving some of that PTSD kind of stuff.
God,
But
is
yeah, generally it's I don't remember unless it's something like that.
well. In terms of then those vivid dreams, is is it reliving current things, or is it stuff like
Yeah,
really historical?
yeah. So it's generally like almost like flashbacky, right? Like so I had a surgery and then I had complications and I didn't know it until I went home and I was like bleeding to death, right? So I had to go back and there was a lot of stupid things that they kind of pushed off and didn't seem to care. And then I went to another hospital and then I had to have an emergency surgery and all kinds of stuff. And then like a week later, this is where I have most of my dreams end up being about this part where I went to the hospital again and they were like, "We need to do all this stuff," and I was like, "No, you don't. Like, I'm totally okay. I don't need you to do a central line in my neck, and I don't need you to do an arterial line in my arm. Um, I'm fine, And so I spent a lot of time arguing with them in real life in the ICU at this hospital. And so I feel like sometimes I'm just like back there again arguing because that was probably the most uh, upset I was. No, when I was actually bleeding to death, I didn't have a lot of fight in me. I didn't have much energy at all. I had lost half my blood, so I didn't have a whole lot of energy to fight with people.
That sounds that in fact that sounds super stressful. I'm
I
not
tell you
surprised,
that Daisy,
and I'm not
losing blood in
surprised.
Daisy is very similar to losing blood in real life. I feel like it's you get all tunnel vision and black and white and grainy.
God, wow. It's a bit of a deep question that in the end, wasn't it? Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a rapture story there.
yeah. Um, kind of in terms of obviously we've talked a bit about gaming, we talked about sport, food. So music, does that play a big influence in your life? What was your last
Yeah.
concert, or is it something that you kind of just have on as a background?
So a lot of my life, I grew up, listening to what my parents listened to, which they listen to a lot of country music because I'm in the Midwest, and Beatles and old like 60s, 70s music. When I hung around with family members, a lot of those folks were carpenters and iron workers and stuff, and they would listen to more like classic rock. And so I grew up listening to a lot of that. And then my brother is 9 years older, 9.5, something like that. So I had a lot of different exposure to stuff from him because he'd listen to like Beastie Boys or like Metallica or like NWA or like
Yeah.
AC/DC or Alice in Chains and Led Zeppelin, that kind of stuff. But um, so I grew up listening to a lot of that from him, and I enjoyed all those things as well. Um, but as I grew, I listened to a lot of things on my own, from other like rock, metal and things like that, to listening to some more emo-y kind of stuff when I was in those years, to listen to more just chill stuff, to listen to EDM. So I have a lot of different music, that I like to listen to. But lately I've been kind of in chill mood, so I've been listening to like Vance Joy or Lord Huron or Bon Iver, stuff like that.
Nice. Um, so obviously you come across in game as dead chill, dead relaxed, very knowledgeable, but kind of want to know what's your biggest life peeve? Like what grinds your gears? What annoys you the most?
Flaky people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the biggest pet peeve I have. People who are inconsistent, with their commitments and behavior, that kind of thing. I don't like it when people are like, "Yeah, we're gonna go do something," and then I get excited, and then I get like let down because it doesn't happen. That bothers me. Uh, but it bothers me more when it happens repeatedly. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
get that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because
And
I
then
get super excited about things, right? I get pumped, right? You've met me a couple times.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And thing is, yeah, I get that. If someone is continuously saying that they're going to do something and then don't, and I can that is something that would and does irritate me. Um, you spotted someone
No,
bad.
I'm
Is
just
it
looking
bad?
out the
Bad
window. I
guy.
just keep looking.
Kind of end of this section questions. Like, if you had a motto for life, what's it? What is it?
I have always been, and this is probably a terrible model. Like, this is probably
Have you ever had a
not
dream
the most positive thing in the world, but I always
that
prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's probably my motto.
Okay.
Um, but I do like to try things. I like to do things. So I guess when I was in high school, I took a class. One of the classes I sat in and did was an existentialism class, actually, which is kind of deep for high school. But I think our goal for that class was to determine what our meaning of life was, and I think a lot of it was just to kind of just experience as much as you can while you can, and I think that's still really important and really true, and kind of live by that too,
Sounds pretty good.
in
Um,
parallel with preparing for the worst.
okay, so time to move on to some gaming based questions. So obviously the actual Rapture,
Yeah,
um, is is there a reason behind the name?
yeah. Originally, back in I've had this name since probably 2005. Um, and the reason that I picked this name, well, I had some other stupid names, right? I started out playing Call of Duty 2. That was my first really like online multiplayer game, was Call of Duty 2. And I loved it because I love World War II history stuff. And that game was really accurate in their creation of their maps and things like that. When you roll into Carentan, France, it's a model of Carentan, France. So it was really neat. I really liked it. But I had other names like Captain Crunch or Colonel Sanders or things like that that were super funny, right? But I wanted to make something that was more unique and, you know, after a bit of thinking, I think I chose Rapture not because like I'm not a religious person, but I think that it's supposed to be a good thing, right? like the Rapture is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
But and it's like an uplifting thing, right? Like a positive thing. But to a lot of people, it can be kind of a scary thing too in theology, right? And so I feel like I have a pretty good moral compass as a hacker, and I feel like the rapture should really only be scary for those people who aren't doing good things, right? So I don't know. I just kind of picked it, and then I stuck with it, and then for better or for worse, it's been my name since 2005.
Can't argue with that. You've kind of gone through it a bit early before, but like, what's your background in gaming? Where did it start, really? And we heard that the Atari played a starting point with Cuba and Pong and stuff, but what was the progression line?
Yeah. So I mentioned that I play games earlier and all that kind of stuff. When I was maybe 5 or 6, I started playing on Nintendo Entertainment System. Sorry, I had to mute to cough. But I had a Nintendo. I'd play with my brother, play some stuff with my dad on his Atari. I had all the consoles growing up, like N64 and a Dreamcast. You ever play Dreamcast? That was cool. My friends had stuff that I didn't have, like 3DO and Sega disc or whatever the heck it was. And I had a cousin who had a Genesis that I would borrow and play Shadowrun.
Nice.
I love Shadowrun. It was a good game, and I didn't realize how important that game would be for me later. But um, but there was a lot of things that I didn't realize in retrospect that I was learning that would come in handy later. Like, did you ever jump on the turtle shell people in Mario, and then if you jumped on them just right, you get 1-ups. You ever done that?
Thing is, I was a Sega, so I didn't really play a great deal of
Okay.
Mario.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in Mario, like the very first Mario Brothers, there are some really fun things that you could do. One of the things you could do is like jump on one of these turtle shell guys, and if you kept hitting jump while you were like had him cornered, after a few jumps, you would get like a 1-up, and if you kept doing it, you get another 1-up, and you just continue to accumulate 1-ups. Well, if you did it for a long enough time, you'd run out of numbers, and then the game would just roll into symbols because you'd buffer overflowed
Yeah.
the numbers. Like the game didn't have any more numbers. It didn't have any space to put more numbers, so it just became symbols. So you broke out of the game, out of what the normal experience should be like. And I didn't realize that obviously that early on in my life that was some sort of exploit, um, of sorts. And that kind of became a thing I ended up learning later that I thought was kind of cool. Also, have you ever played with like the Game Shark or the Game Genies or any of those?
Oh yeah, I know them. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I had one when I was a bit older, but it was kind of fun because you could be like, say you were playing Mario and you had 3 lives and you gained an extra life, you could look for things that turn from 3 to 4, and then you could go and F11, so to speak, and you beat that back down to 3, and then you look for things that went from 4 back down to 3, and then you could find like 2 items and you put 999, and if your lives jump to 999, then you found the right number, right?
Yeah.
The right value or whatever. Those, I mean, that's man in the middle attacks. Like those are hacking. That's something very fundamental um, in hacking as well. So anyway, I contribute the. I think that gaming contributed to my career, and
Right. Yeah.
in a lot of ways that I didn't know that it would. So that
So,
was kind of cool.
so what was your
But
first game that you ever played then?
I'd say it was probably Mario, maybe
Mario.
Mario Duck Hunt. I think we had the original like Nintendo that came with the guns for Duck Hunt, and it
Oh,
had the
yeah.
Mario Duck Hunt combo. Yeah, I think that was the very first console that we had. Um, yeah,
Even though I was a Sega player, I still could definitely appreciate the duck hunt and the gun. Um, that was quite fun.
yeah.
Um, so, 'cause we've talked a lot about games that you've enjoyed. So, which game have you played and you wish you hadn't?
Rust. I fucking hate Rust. I cannot stand Rust. It's probably an unpopular opinion, but I really hate Rust. And my only regret was continuing to play it instead of returning it to Steam.
There's a lot of people on the DayZ forums who just say, if you don't like DayZ, go back to Rust.
No, yeah, I mean, I hated Rust so much, and I couldn't stand it, but I couldn't return it because I gave it too many tries.
Oh shit!
Like I
Yeah.
tried really hard to love it, but I couldn't. My friends that were playing at the time, they're like, "You're gonna love this. It's gonna be great." And I'm like, "They're like, it's like Minecraft and DayZ," and I'm like, "No, it's not. Uh, it's definitely not."
I think a lot of people struggle initially with DayZ because if you don't know any of the basics, you are spawn, die, and
Yeah,
it's just a continuous cycle of this game sucks. And if you spawn in
you
at
gotta
night,
really want to play.
yeah, um,
Yeah, you gotta really want to play DayZ because DayZ is really frustrating. When my dad first started playing DayZ, he was like, "I died 43 times last night," or whatever.
oh my god,
Like what? And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You counted?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Why did you keep playing?" He was like, "I was determined." Okay.
got to though. I mean, yeah, I think if you don't, then that's it. You are quite easily going to give up. Um,
Yeah.
so we know, games have cost various amounts and do tend to rise. But what's the most you've ever paid for a game?
Thousands, probably in WoW. I used to play WoW, um, so if you consider that WoW costs, what, maybe 50, $60 when you buy it, World of Warcraft, right? I
Yeah.
think I got in right as Burning Crusade came out in 2000, maybe 2006. So it was like not too far after I played Call of Duty. I started a Call of Duty 2 clan, and then that clan merged into a bigger clan. And then I was leading 150 people for Call of Duty 2, and the whole clan was like 300 people. And then I was running their servers, like adminning. I'd run their servers in VoIP. They had TeamSpeak 2 back then, and maybe even the original TeamSpeak before that. And
That's
so I'd run all their stuff. They had a Perl mod. They had some hackers that would come in and overflow the server and things like that. So I was helping to administrate that, and I would help to run their forums and things. And so I played a bunch of games. This isn't really on par with your question, I guess, but it
go
leads
for it.
into it. So I led that, and then I played another game because I kind of got bored with FPS because there was a lot of hackers. I played on the Cal League, where we would do FPS, like Call of Duty League matches and stuff.
Hmm.
And it was great, but there was just a lot of cheating and stuff, and I got really frustrated with FPS. So I went and played an RPG. So I was playing a game called Silk Road Online, and I really liked it a lot. And so I started a regiment in our clan, kind of Silk Road, and a lot of people played it. I had a falling out with a group, and I gave him the guild, and then I went off and started my own. And then a friend of mine says, "Hey, you should come play WoW with me." And I said, "Okay." So I started playing WoW with him, and then I ended up leading a different group. And then in that group, I ended up leading was like 350 people. And over the course of 6 years, ish. So I had a large group of raiders and PvPers. We had different, people that wanted to do PvP and different people who wanted to raid. So we do that kind of stuff, and
That's
then
pretty intense. That sounds like a full-time job.
it is. And so I left because oh, I got booted. I left because I was going to go back to school for information systems. So I knew that I couldn't play WoW and do school. There was just no
Hmm.
way I could do that. So I said, "Hey, everybody, I'm out," and handed off everything and left that behind. And so, but for that 6 years, you spent $60 for the base game, another however much for the edition, and then I played it all the way up to Pandaria. I was in the alpha or beta for Pandaria. I didn't know this, but apparently I've gotten into a lot of alphas and betas over the years, and I didn't really even think about it much. But so I guess if you count all that, and then the fact that I had 4 accounts in WoW, that was another thing. And you
Yeah.
pay $15 a month for every, so that's I don't know, thousands, probably thousands of bucks,
Wow.
really, realistically, yeah,
Well, back to DayZ then.
yeah.
So as obviously as a DayZ streamer, very knowledgeable on the game, described the game as if we'd never heard it before.
You ever watched The Walking Dead?
Yep.
You ever thought, I think I do things a little differently? Well, now you
Yeah.
can play The Walking Dead. That's essentially what this is. I feel like it's like playing The Walking Dead.
Actually, that's probably the best description I've ever heard of this game because
It's
normally my descriptions make it sound shit. Uh,
I mean, essentially, it's about as realistic as you can get, I think, you know. Besides some of the weird funky mechanics with, you know, physics and bears flying through the air and so on and so forth. I'd say it's pretty much like playing The Walking Dead. Um,
in all fairness, I've never thought of it like that, but yeah, fair play. Um, so what do you think are the most underrated and overrated games out there?
I would say, well, we know Rust, right?
Yeah,
Is
okay.
overrated. Rust is overrated. Um, I'd say even though there's a lot of hype, I think the most bang for the buck I've gotten out of any game has been Minecraft.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I play that game from one of the very, you know, before it was the 1.0 or whatever, before it was 1.0. So again, another early release game I played, but that game has done so much over the years. Um, I think it's fantastic. I mean, the close second to that I'd say is Stardew Valley. As far as amazing games that even though they get some hype, I think they're still underrated. I probably bought 12 copies of Minecraft over the years for people. Uh,
It's quite like I'm involved in a lot of outreach stuff, and one of the things that they do is they use Minecraft as a tool for some of that. So it reaches different audiences for lots of different reasons. I think with Minecraft, whilst it's not something that I've ever really played that much of, and I don't understand it, um, I think the reach of
I
Minecraft is pretty wide.
Yeah, and you can do so much. It's like, have you ever used like deep programs like Photoshop or something like that, or Illustrator or
Yeah.
After Effects? Like those programs, you can do real simple, basic things with them, but you can go as deep as you want with them. You can get very, very technical with it, and Minecraft's very similar. You can just build stuff if you want. You can just play in, you know, in survival mode, or you can play in creative mode. And either way, you're going to have a pretty good time. But you can also build computers out of them. And I've seen people build RAM out of redstone and like computer science people building crazy stuff with just stuff in Minecraft. People take wool blocks. There's 16 different colors of wool, I think, maybe more now, but they take the wool cloth and they use them to mark which wires go where, and then they use the redstone on the wool so they can. It's basically wiring, like color coded
Yeah.
wiring. I've seen
Nice.
I've seen
I've when
some
I,
wild things.
when I've watched others streaming it, and it's just like that just looks like incredible. But they just make it look easy. Um,
Yeah, when you get
so
computer science people in the Minecraft, it can get wild.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Moving over to streaming, do you have any? What's your well? I'll try and reword this to an actual question. Do you have a favorite streaming moment from a recent stream?
Oh man, I've had some really crazy stuff happen in streams before, but um, I think some of the broken mechanics in Daisy are some of the best entertainment. Um, I don't know if you've seen some of the things, but like, have you ever watched an animal spawn in the sky and then fall into the
Yeah,
ground?
that's quite fun.
Like
Yeah, when
that's
and sometimes they just disappear into the sky, and you're like, where the fuck have they gone?
yeah, like what
Um,
was that? Like you have had zombies go flying through the air or get stuck in trees or just in weird positions. I had a zombie that like fell into a tree the other day and it looked like he was doing the YMCA. It was really wild. And then I like the way that foxes and wolves just deflate when they die. They just go
oh
flat.
yeah,
It cracks me up.
yeah.
Um,
They haven't quite nailed that down
Outside
yet,
of
have
that,
they?
I've had some crazy stuff happen in DayZ that weren't, while I was streaming, but like some really, really funny things. But outside of that, I think some of these mechanics while I'm streaming are probably my favorite parts. Dying while I'm holding a freaking rabbit meat because it's too hot to eat, and I'm blinking red health and blinking red hunger, and I can't eat the meat because it's too hot, it'll kill me, and I can't get it to cool fast enough to eat so I don't starve to death. That's that's probably one of the highlights of the last week.
Oh, that's bad, though, when a tragic death has been the highlight of the week just because of the ridiculous scenario it's in. But
Yeah, it's so absurd.
I think when some people mention Daisy, it is possibly one of the most enjoyably frustrating games I've ever played.
I
Um,
agree.
and yet we still keep coming back.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, who was it inspired you to start streaming?
I would say it's probably going to be like Sonya and you. You guys have been a really big inspiration in me trying to go for streaming. As kind of a fun activity for me to do, and that hopefully teach other people things. I think it's been a really fun time the last couple weeks now that I've started doing it, and I thank you guys for inspiring me to do it.
I appreciate that. There's so many really good streamers out there as well, and I think when I never even considered streaming, and then it was just through pure chance that I thought, why not? And then I was just dropping into small streamers and chatting, and actually I thought I can have a go at that. Um, but yeah, it's a strange jump from where I was, um, and the world that I generally move around in to be then seen as doing a bit of streaming. Um, but given the chance, of all like the major streamers out there, or even the smaller streamers, someone we may never heard of, who would you most like to run with?
I enjoy running with the people I run with. You running with you or Sonya or running with you know a lot of the folks in the community that we've been kind of building, or you guys have built, and then I've been kind of joining. A lot of those folks have been great. It'd be fun to run with Megan. It'd be fun to run with Tiny um, and Sid and Mad and you. Like it would be fun to do more runs with you guys. But if I had to choose somebody outside of that, then I'd probably run with some of my favorite streamers are more popular streamers because I think, like everybody's seen TRMZ, I
Yeah.
think for the most part. He's fun, but he's kind of a crotchety old man. And so,
Oh, yeah,
so
I've met him a couple of times.
I don't know if I'd run with him because he's really unpredictable. Um,
He's a
but I
really
do like,
he plays himself down so much, but he's such a good player.
yeah, he is really a good player. I think he is. But if I had to choose, if we were doing competitive, I would choose Sour Sweet because he's one hell of a shot.
Oh yeah, it doesn't seem
I've
to
seen
miss.
Sour
Yeah,
Sour
sour.
Sweet pulls
Yeah.
off some crazy, crazy shots.
You
Mueller is
ever
really good as well.
you ever watched Tope?
If we're No, no.
Tote is another one like South Sweet. Doesn't ever seem to miss. Just always on a swivel. Just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. I think they could kill me with a spoon. Never mind with a fucking M4. Um,
Yeah, I think if I were talking about if we're talking skill and fun, I think it would be fun to run with Adam Crook. I don't know if you ever watch Adam Crook. He's hilarious.
I saw Adam Crook. He was playing in the Lights Out, not the last one, the one before, and I think he did really
Hmm.
well. He was really well
I think
high
he
up.
won.
I think
I
he
think he
actually
may
won.
have won.
Actually, I think his team did. I think he
Yeah,
was there at the end. He was.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. I
these
think you might be
these
right.
guys are incredible. Um,
Yeah, they're pretty great. It would be fun to run with those guys. And Adam has some really hilarious alter egos that he plays as, and I think that's what makes it fun for me. Like the Pizza Tony guy, where he's or whatever his name was. I remember watching TRMZ play Alteria, and he ran into Adam Crook at the Candy Cane Tower, and um and he was like talking like a New Yorker about how his uncle has a pizza place and he needs to go to New York and go to the pizza place and he'll come up and all this stuff. And it was so funny. I love role playing. I think it's super fun when people do that. I'd love to do more of that on the stream. And I used to play Altus Life, Pakistan Live, Altus Live,
Yeah.
those games for Arma 2 and Arma 3 that had them, and it was so much fun to run around and role play. And I remember signing up for like the police force one time, and you had this whole process that you had to go through to get in a police force. You had to be a role player the entire time. I opted for the helicopter medic. You had to go through like flight school and all this other
What?
stuff to become a helicopter medic.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh my God, I crashed so many helicopters. It was great. It was great. I'm like cruising, like just screaming ass across the map in a freaking helicopter, trying to help somebody who blew themselves up at a cocaine processing factory or some crap, right? And I'm cruising in, and like I just, it's dark, and I clip the heli clips the telephone line, and I flip upside down and crash. And now another heli has to come and rescue me so that I can rescue the guy that I went out there to rescue.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that. And you get there, and you got to like role play the whole time, right? So you're like, what do you say? Like, so I roll in, and I'm like, oh God, what happened to you? You know? And like, they're like, what like, how did you do this? And then you're like, I don't know how to fix people, but I watched a video on YouTube once, and then so you're like sewing them up, while you're working on reviving them. You're like, the leg bone's connected to the hip bone, like, and they're like, what the hell? So I'd always get like comments later, like, you were the craziest medic I've ever had in this game. Like, what were you doing? And I think a lot of it's just, people really enjoy the role playing. So maybe if we did more of that, like, people would enjoy it and get more enjoyment out of it. I think I would.
Yeah, that'd be something different and something fun. I've just realised it's got dark around us as well. So the final section is there's 20 questions and you've got to pick one of the answers.
Okay.
So it's like quick fire, but we'll go for it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Tea or coffee?
Coffee,
Fruit or vegetables?
vegetables,
Cats or dogs?
dogs.
Cash or cards?
I mean, in what context?
Well, you're buying shit.
I usually use card. Would I
Beach
prefer to
or
have more cash?
oh,
Probably.
well, that's always a bonus. Beach or city?
Hmm. It depends, but I like beaches. I'll go with beaches.
Text.
Right now, beach.
Okay, then beach or mountains?
Mountains. You can always put on more clothes. You can't take off. I mean, like, you know what I mean?
What was it? Yeah. Text or call?
Call.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Are you staying in or are you going out?
Staying in.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Rain or snow?
Snow.
Rainers or sneakers or shoes?
Shoes.
Fire or ice?
Fire.
I don't know where that came from, but it's there. Music or podcasts?
Music.
You prefer to sing in the shower or sing in the car?
Yes.
Yes.
Shower. Yeah.
Okay. Organized or messy?
Organized.
Okay. Sakal or Shinaris?
Sakal.
Sakal or Bitterroot?
Sakal.
Sakal or Livonia?
Ooh, those are my two favorites.
I know.
Oh man. Sakal is harder but more fun to me because it's challenging and I know they're adding more to it. So I as it is right now, Livonia, as it's going to be in the future, I'm hopeful for Sakal.
Oh, okay then. Well, Livonia or New York?
I'd still say Livonia. New York, I don't think is ready yet.
Livonia or PNW?
I don't think I've played PNW other than for like 30 seconds, so I can't give it a fair shot. But I'll end up saying Livonia anyway.
Okay. Livonia or Alteria?
Ooh, those are both fun. Livonia though.
Okay. Livonia or Banff?
I don't think I played Banoff.
All right. Livonia or Namalsk?
Ooh, Livonia. Livonia is probably my favorite out of all of them.
Right, well, the final question has got to be, and this is where we both get in trouble. Is lasagna a noodle?
Is she a noodle? Yes, 100%.
Oh, well, that is where I've run out of questions, dude. Thank you for that. It's been nice.
Yeah.
Just I wish we'd had a bit more daylight, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's always
So was next
sun
time.
will always rise.
It will. But thank you, dude. I'm now going to. What are you doing, you?
Some meat.
Well then, if that's the way we're going out,
I just threw some meat at you. Here you
you
go.
did. Well, I'll see you soon, dude.
Oh no! Don't do it.
It's time.
Oh no! Can't look.
Right, I'll see you all in a bit.
All right. Thanks for everything.
I'll take it easy. Right, so that was the first ever streamer spotlight with the actual Rapture. So thank you. That was definitely something outside of whatever I've done before. I'm going to get myself a drink and then I will be changing platforms and jumping on with Deli. So thank you for sitting in and listening to me and Rapture chat away. December, haven't quite sure who we're going to be doing Spotlight on, but we will definitely be looking at someone really, really soon. So have an awesome evening if you're going to disappear now. And I will be back pretty soon with Deli. All right. See you in a bit. Take care.